Greg listens to our show, and recently he heard us talk about having cameras in a listening and video mode as buyers walk through the home. And he says now he is about to sell his home, put it on the market, and he wonders, can he keep the cameras on? Which brings up a couple of other questions. Does he need to have a sign that says cameras are recording? What's the legal implications here? What should buyers and sellers both know?
Well, good morning, Greg. I think that is a fabulous question, especially in this day and age of technology. I think it's so easy to obtain those listening devices, the Ring cameras, just your security cameras inside, nanny cams. I mean, there's a whole slew of different ways that we can now have those audio visual recording opportunities, whether it be for security or safety or otherwise. However, Greg, I would caution you and discourage you from using those in this potential real estate transaction to obtain information. So I assume that the seller would want to be privy to perhaps some private discussions between the real estate agent and the potential purchaser, which may or may not include information that could materially impact those negotiations. So whether they're absolutely in love with the house and they don't care what they have to pay, I mean, that's going to change the seller's willingness or strategy in countering. And there could be a whole number of different conversations that could, again, impact those negotiations, where I could see that the seller would find those to be valuable. However, I will remind you that, KRS under Kentucky law does have an eavesdropping statute, and it could carry civil and criminal penalties. So even though you kind of may have heard the old adage, well, so long as one person, provides permission to listening, it's okay. That's not necessarily going to be a saving grace here. So without totally unpacking that statute, there could be some exposure for you under eavesdropping when you intentionally do that in that type of scenario. So I like to play it safe. I'm a safety girl. And I think that, it would be best served to not have that. And if you do want to keep those, if you are worried about security and not necessarily the informational piece or gaining an advantage, I think you need to disclose it. I also want to mention that, again, that's a slippery slope, because in addition to, even if you disclose it, in addition to certain concerns relative to those eavesdroppings, we could have fair housing concerns or allegations and claims that could result in that, other types of confidentiality with breach of fiduciary duties, et cetera. So long story short, I just don't think it's a good idea. I would want to protect all of the listeners out there and just caution you against that. I think also buyers and buyers agents should be aware that you could always be having someone listening to you or watching you when you see those cameras or otherwise. And so best practice for those buyers and buyers agents is to reserve those conversations until after they've left the property. So, just look through the property. If you have questions like what's behind this door, certainly the real estate agent could try to open that or show certain things in the home, but what you think about it, and certainly how you want to draft a contract or negotiations, wait until you leave the home to have those.
Yeah, and I think we should all just remember, buyers, as you're walking through with your agents, you very possibly could be recorded. Just go in knowing that, and that could help you in terms of what you say as you walk through the home.